What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Trainz simulator video, Trainz 2019. I have another one from Trainz Forge's shop. This is the fictional Minnesota Northern T-5 460 in both early and modern designs. Now, these locomotives are payware. These are only like $5, roundabout. Yeah, $5 from Trainz Forge's store, and these are entirely fictional. I believe the base locomotive is based on the Canadian Pacific D10s, if I were a guessing man. The frame, the drivers, the proportions all seem to line up pretty much on par, but yeah, I picked this one up today, and I've been playing around a lot with it, and I really like it overall. It's kind of a neat one. Kind of gives one a kind of a fresh slate to fiddle with. So let's hop into them. So right off the bat, I'm just going to get this out of the way. The sounds across the board for all four locomotives are identical. Same horn, same bell, same typical chuff sounds, same everything. Nothing crazy, nothing wild. So I'm not going to bother going through all the sounds on each and every individual locomotive, but I will point out some of the differences because, like I said, there is an early and there is a late variant. So up here we have the two early variations, which right off the bat, the number one most noticeable difference between the early and the late is the disc driver on the late. So this is the regular late model. It's got a disc driver in the center versus the early, which still has a spoked driver. And yeah, that's really about it as far as differences go between between the early and the late. And then the early version has the early locomotive has two different versions, one with the pinstriping here, it'll be called stripe, and one without the pinstriping. And then you'll get two different, well, I guess technically three, but two different tenders for the early. So you'll get a Vanderbilt tender like this, one with stripes, one without, and a early tender, box body tender without stripes. And then you'll get the late version locomotive with both a late Vanderbilt tender and a late box tender. Biggest difference between the box tenders, the early and the late has a taller coal bunker. The coal bunker has been extended upward a little bit, but other than that, there's really nothing that different. So yeah, really nice locomotives overall. Really nice. As is typical of Trainz Forge, no photoshopped rivets. All their rivets are done nicely. They have a nice weathering job on them overall. Makes them look like a used working locomotive in service right now. And last but not least, as far as the versions go, and probably my favorite, is the this is the late road variation. So it's got the centered headlight, the overhanging bell, the marker, the number board lights up on the front, and the disc center driver. So it's just an overall really good looking locomotive. I opted to go with the Vanderbilt tender, and you will also get an auxiliary tender. So that's really nice. Really nice locomotives. far as our details go, you can change the class, so it'll light up the marker lights white or green, and it'll add white or green flags, like so. And then smoke box doors can be opened with a decently detailed interior. It's quite nice. Close that. Engineers' windows and firemen's windows can be opened. And then roof hatch. Slide back and these two will open. And then deflectors. These little wind deflectors will pop open. So a nice little detail that one really wouldn't notice all the time, but these pumps will activate, and you'll see these little doodads right here going up and down. So let's hear it. So it's not bad. It's not my favorite. It's an older whistle file, and you can kind of hear the crackling in the audio file. And the echo is nice for routes like this, the Eagle River, where it's kind of a mountain route, so the echo would make sense. But so I know some people don't like the echo, but luckily it's Trainz, so it's really easy to change those sound files if you so care to. But decent whistle overall, really decent. And then we got our bell. The bells do operate. It's not a bad sounding bell. It's one heck of a crossing bell. So no custom cab, unfortunately. For those of you that like the custom cab, it's that typical American steam locomotive cab that gets used for everything. So it doesn't sound half bad. The chuff rates are quite nice overall, except for that sound file. That is the one part of the sound file that I can't stand. It sounds horrible. You hear it spool up and then die down, and then spool up and die down. So you hear where the loop has been spliced in. I don't like that, but other than that, it actually sounds really nice. Now, I'm not gonna do it, but if you do the max throttle, the locomotive actually will get up to 70 miles an hour. For those of you that like to open it up and let it fly. I'm going to slow it down so I don't have to hear that audio file, because I don't like it. Now these are loud locomotives. I will say that. These things are pretty loud compared to a lot of their other stuff. Overall, they seem a lot louder. But not bad. Especially since they're freelance locomotives, so you can get away with a lot of stuff with them. You can get away with a lot of use, especially those of you guys that like to reskin. You'll really get some use out of these. A good 460 goes anywhere overall. So really nice locomotives, really nice. I do recommend checking them out. Oh, that's interesting. Check them out on Trainz Forge. I believe they're $5. You will get all those variations, and you also get a caboose to go with them. Did I say it? I did. So you'll get this caboose to go with them, which, you know, it's cool. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. The caboose is, it's decently done, but it looks like a Union Pacific CA caboose, if I'm not mistaken. But, oh yeah, real nice. Highly recommend going and checking it out. If you're looking for a freelance locomotive to use generically speaking for a do-all, end-all locomotive, as far as steam locomotives go, this is a really great candidate. For those of you that like to reskin, it's not too hard to get rid of that white Minnesota and northern lettering and do whatever you so please to, privately, of course, or with permission from Trainz Forge. But yeah, real neat locomotive. I highly recommend checking it out. There's not a whole lot I can say to it, given that it is a fictional freelance locomotive. So if you want to know kind of the fictional story behind it, Trainz Forge does have like a little information placard on it. But yeah, like I said, I believe it's based on the Canadian Pacific D10. I should have placed one down to kind of show the comparison of it, but real cool locomotive, really cool. Highly recommend checking it out. That's about it today. Just thought I'd show it off. Not a whole lot to talk about today. So yeah, go take a look at it and see what you think. Grab it if you need it. Like I said, it's $5. You can't really go wrong. Yeah, that's it. Till next time, fellas.